Summer is almost over. If you have not yet started your back-to-school preparations, then time management and patience must be your foremost personal attributes. On the show today, getting you mentally ready for the new academic year, we open the magazine with the story of a young man who didn't allow his circumstance to determine his altitude. The power of immunization. It's not wise to allow your child to start school if he or she is not. Then, teens, think. It is not cool to smoke. The news first, then those features and more. Stay with us.
Want to know the law pertaining to renting a house? What about the procedure if you're arrested? Or what is defined as corruption? Then click on the Ministry of Justice website. It has information on every law passed in Jamaica. The House of Parliament portal also has the more recent year's pieces of legislation. The sites are easy to search and the files are downloadable. Make access to justice your business. Know your rights.
Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Friday, August 25. The National Police College of Jamaica training wing at Harmon Barracks is now able to train more recruits following the recent construction of new dormitories. The new dormitories were handed over on Thursday and increased Harmon Barracks' capacity from 150 to 200. This adds to refurbishing work taking place to accommodate 500 recruits at Twickenham Park and new arrangements to train 300 at the University of the West Indies. National Security Minister Robert Montego says this significant boost to the cadre of police officers is critical to resolving the two major crime problems facing Jamaica.
Jamaica is faced with two major problems, guns and gangs. And if we don't have enough police officers out in the streets, we cannot confront the gangs, and we won't be able to lock off our borders. And if we are not doing that, the country will continue to suffer from insecurity and our citizens feeling hopeless and helpless.
Minister Montego says the refurbishing work at Twickenham Park is about 80% complete. In addition, the ministry has acquired 5 prefabricated buildings from China Harbour Engineering Company, 2 being installed at Harmon Barracks and 3 at Twickenham Park. The ones at Twickenham Park are for additional dorm and classroom space and to assist MOCA with polygraph testing of new recruits. Retired police officers are being employed to assist with speeding up the polygraph testing procedure.
Because we are polygraphing 100% of our recruits, the process is a little longer to do the antecedents and to do the polygraph. So what we have done, we have moved to employ some retired police officers to help with doing the community checks, the antecedents. And MOCA and the Army and the police have now come together to do the polygraphing.
Scores of policemen and women have been trained to better identify and prosecute breaches of Jamaica's hunting laws, particularly during the 2017 game bird shooting season. Members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force participated in a recent island-wide series of training workshops with the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA. The sessions, which were also attended by game wardens, focused on the Wildlife Protection Act, environmental legislation in Jamaica, and the Hunters Licenses regulations. The lawmen also got a refresher's course in the procedures of arrest and prosecution and in the chain of custody of confiscated birds. The 2017 bird shooting season began on Saturday, August 19 and will end Sunday, September 24. Technology Minister Dr. Andrew Wheatley is reassuring the public that the newly launched gov.jm website is a secure portal and users' personal information will not be compromised. The portal, which was launched earlier this month, is a one-stop-shop website that allows persons to conduct business with government agencies. Services currently available include tax and traffic fine payments and queries, motor vehicle registration, bill payments, and applications for passport, death, birth, and marriage certificates and driver's licenses. Minister Wheatley says the government is taking all the necessary security measures to protect customer privacy.
We have a cyber incident response team within the Ministry of Science and Energy and Technology, and that cyber incident response team, CERT, is supported by our partners within the JCF and our international partners. We have done 2 audits of government websites, so it's an ongoing process. It's the first time that we have had any form of auditing of government websites, and we are looking to put in place fixes where possible and to upgrade the level of cyber security.
A new web security policy has recently been completed, which stipulates that all government websites put necessary structures in place to ensure that they have maximum security. The minister adds that the Data Protection Bill will be tabled in September, which will further assist in protecting the rights of persons and their information online. Government is advancing efforts to exploit the benefits of renewable energy resources for development and climate change adaptation. The Climate Change Division of the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation recently led the first in a series of study tours of the island's renewable energy facilities. It encompassed Wigton Wind Farm in Manchester and the Caribbean Coastal Area Management Foundation. The tour was aimed at sensitizing environmental stakeholders on the day-to-day operations of these facilities and how these contribute to the country's climate change adaptation and mitigation efforts.
This is an excellent experience, and when we speak now about the need to go with more renewables, we have a much better appreciation of what we're talking about what is doable.
Upcoming study tours will include a visit to WRB Energy, a solar farm facility in Compton, Clarendon, as well as one of the country's hydroelectric power plants. And finally, Tax Administration Jamaica, TAJ, says its offices will be opened this Saturday to accommodate businesses filing their GCT returns for July. The returns are due on Thursday, August 31. TAJ's offices in Constant Spring, Montego Bay, Spanish Town, Maypen, Mandeville, Savannah Lamar, and St. Anne's Bay will be open tomorrow between the hours of 10 and 2 p.m. The Portmore Tax Office will continue its regular Saturday opening time of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Business operators are urged to utilize the convenience of the Saturday opening to avoid the last-minute rush to file their returns ahead of the due date. In addition to the opening this Saturday, persons may opt to do business on Saturday, September 30, and on the last 2 Saturdays of the amnesty, October 21 and 28. Meanwhile, medium taxpayers are reminded that they must file their tax returns using the TAJ online portal at jamaicatax.gov.jm. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.
Stand up and get in the race.
I can become the master of my destiny.
Step up your stride, make we work like a harder. Do it like Veronica, more than a supper.
We can rise above the challenges and shine.
Was with passion in your heart. Make a plan and stop all the idling. You think I saw? We reach out the edging. I can, you can. Like our Olympians, every Jamaican can.
It is not how you start, but how you finish. The journey to success starts with building a mind of confidence, perseverance, and humility. As you begin school in the next few weeks, here is a tell-all story as encouragement to overcome the struggles which may arise.
Hi, my name is Dwayne Haynes, a former ward of the state. I ended up becoming a ward of the state because my mother became mentally ill shortly after I was born. I ended up on the streets, and from there the police came and took me to the Maxfield Park Children's Home, where I stayed for the first 8 years of my life until my grandfather became aware that I was in the Maxfield Park Children's Home and came and took me as a foster child. Being a foster child meant that I was in the direct care of a parent or guardian or somebody who the state vested their trust and interest in, but at the same time I was still under the ambits of the state per se. Some of the challenges that I faced while being at the Maxfield Park Children's Home included not being around family, not really having that close bond with persons in particular. At present, I'm kind of having those challenges, but it has improved drastically since I ended up being with my grandfather, who, though at the time he was past the age legally to adopt or to foster a child. It was a really good tenure. It was a really good experience being in charge of the student body, making critical decisions, at times intervening in certain matters as it relates to student-school relationship, school administration relationship. It was really good. Persons did not know I was a ward of the state, nor did they know that I had challenges growing up. Because my grandfather always instilled in me that you must always carry yourself in such a manner that you blend in, but at the same time you stand out. So persons don't need to judge you on that basis that you are a ward of the state or you are a bit less fortunate than others. They need to judge you based on the characteristics which you display to the world. And that's what I took. About a month or so before my tenure as head boy was about to end, I wasn't thinking about university any at all because I was looking at my circumstances which would have prevented me from pursuing a higher level of education. However, the Child Development Agency again intervened and they sought scholarships for me, in particular the COJO Scholarship, Children of Jamaica Foundation Scholarship, which is an overseas-based diaspora scholarship. It was from there that I initially started the University of the West Indies pursuing a degree in law, but due to financial challenges I ended up switching to management studies. I have no regrets because this doesn't stop my dream of achieving and becoming the best that I can be.
We have a couple of programs because it's in our strategic objectives at the CDA. So the youngsters we have in place from there about 15 to 18, we ramp up what we call the permanency planning, which would aid them to have a smooth transition, re-socialization into the wider society. We have children going to university, going to nursing school, medical school, and other vocational school also that we support. We have youngsters who have been awarded for their academic achievement, and we have got scholarships for them from a number of private sector organizations, and that had aided them in completing their studies. So they are doing well academically. We have to make sure that they also do well vocationally and ready for the world.
My ultimate dream is to become the Prime Minister, but in the next couple of years, leading up to that, I plan on working in the public sector to give back meaningfully to the holistic growth of Jamaica. Because for me, I see that there is need for active youth participation in government policies, direction, etc. My advice to each and every ward of the state is to not accept mediocre. We must always look ahead and say somebody else is worse off than me. So what am I going to do with the opportunities which come my way? Take those opportunities, get involved, be more extrovert. It's a bit hard in light of the fact that you are faced with adverse challenges such as rejection and so forth, but we can do it. I'm in the process of completing my degree and fulfilling my dreams. You can too.
Yet still I grow.
More life.
More memories.
More moments.
Jamaica Moves is a call to action to prevent non-communicable diseases. Get active, eat healthy. You can protect yourself from high blood pressure, obesity, asthma, certain cancer diseases, and more.
A good way to ward off an illness, which may occur by being in the school environment, is being fully immunized. Watch this for critical information on Jamaica's immunization system.
Immunization is arguably one of the most cost-effective healthcare interventions ever invented. Since the first successful vaccine was developed to treat smallpox in 1796, vaccination has been preventing illnesses and deaths for millions of people around the world. According to the World Health Organization, about 2 to 3 million deaths are prevented each year because of persons taking up vaccines or being immunized. Through vaccination, smallpox was declared eradicated from the world in 1980, and that's a significant achievement. Other diseases are on the verge of being eradicated through the process of immunization here in Jamaica.
Immunization has led to a substantial reduction of illnesses and death from diseases such as polio, measles, whooping cough, and newborn tetanus. Measles deaths have decreased by almost 80% over the past 10 years, which again is a significant achievement.
Jamaica's immunization program has managed to eliminate a number of vaccine-preventable diseases over the years. These include polio, which usually left children paralyzed.
Jamaica had the last case, for example, of polio in 1982, the last case of locally transmitted measles in 1991, the last case of diphtheria in 1995, the last case of rubella in 2000, and the last case of newborn tetanus in 2001.
In 2011, the country recorded 100% immunization coverage for BCG or tuberculosis. Thanks to the expanded program on immunization EPI, which began in 1976, the population coverage against vaccine-preventable diseases remains relatively high. Under the program, immunization coverage for children under 2 years old reached 93 to 94% in 2010-2011. The expanded program on immunization provides free vaccination to children ages 0 to 7 during the routine immunization schedule of the Ministry of Health. This is an integral strategy to reduce child mortality and morbidity.
First, we give at birth up to 6 weeks of age BCG vaccine, which is given usually in the hospital setting, and BCG protects against tuberculosis. At 6 weeks, 3 months, and 6 months, babies are due a vaccine against polio, which prevents poliomyelitis, as well as the pentavalent vaccine or the 5-in-1 vaccine.
Then at 12 months of age, the MMR vaccine is administered to protect children against measles, mumps, and rubella.
At 18 months, we give the first set of booster vaccines, and we give boosters again for MMR. The children get DPT as well, which is for diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus. And then they also get the polio vaccine at that time as well.
Between the ages of 4 to 6 years, children must get a second booster vaccine for DPT as well as a second booster vaccine for polio.
A lot of these vaccine-preventable diseases are actually quite contagious and can cause death, especially among our young children. And so therefore, I would encourage parents to ensure that their children are appropriately vaccinated.
In Jamaica, children must be fully immunized before entry to school, and that is usually a part of mandatory school medicals due before the start of each academic year.
They have to present the immunization record at the health facility to confirm that the vaccines indeed have been done, and if they are missing any vaccines for whatever reason, then they are provided for them at the health facility.
The immunization record is part of the Child Health Development Passport introduced for every child in 2010 to replace the immunization cards used previously. As part of its public education initiative, the Ministry of Health displays posters and other material at health centers and schools, reminding parents and caregivers about the immunization schedules, showing what vaccine is due and when. Disease surveillance is also practiced at ports of entry to combat the country's increased susceptibility to new diseases due to globalization and increased travel. Across the board, government is on a mission to improve the health of the nation by making traditional vaccines available and exploring new and non-traditional vaccines to tackle other diseases.
For example, the mitigation of NCDs like some cancers, which can be prevented through vaccination, such as the vaccine for the human papilloma virus, which causes cervical cancer, falls in line with the Ministry of Health strategic plan to improve the offering to the public. And the commitment today is that we will work to ensure that other vaccines on the market with a proven track record are introduced as part of our routine administration to our population.
Avoid, alter, accept. 3 steps to help you quit smoking. 3 things to help you kick that cigarette butt. Avoid places, people and things that encourage smoking. Alter the way you do things.
If you normally drive a certain route, and when you drive a certain route, you're going to pass a bar. Drive a different route, you don't pass the bar.
Get rid of ashtrays and all smoking apparatus. Breathe in and out. Drink some water. Count to 300. Go for a walk and hang around non-smokers. And after all that, accept that you need help.
With support, you're going to find, oh, I really feel better with support. Because the person who's supporting you is going to say, you know, I'm proud of you.
Do it one day at a time. Join the fight and quit smoking for life.
Healthy substances should fuel the brain, such as good reading books. Smoking, whether it is marijuana or cigarette, is definitely not good brain food. So teenagers, if you want to succeed in school, don't smoke. Watch this.
Over the years, the prevalence of smoking among our youth from as early as age 13 has been steadily spiraling upward. The most recent Global Tobacco Youth Survey showed that smokers in the age group 13 to 15 increased from 15% to nearly 25% over a 9-year period. This trend is of concern, considering the ill effects of smoking.
Cigarette smoking is associated with nearly every cancer you can imagine. Cancer of the tongue, cancer of the breast, cancer of the cervix, cancer of the pharynx, cancer of the stomach, just to name a few.
There are over 4,000 chemicals in cigarettes that are harmful to the human body.
For example, chemicals that are found in embalming fluid, what is used to preserve dead bodies, chemicals which are found in rat poison, insecticide, chemicals that are found in battery. All of these chemicals are found in cigarette.
Among young people, the short-term health consequences of smoking include respiratory and non-respiratory effects, addiction to nicotine, and the associated risk of other substance abuse. Long-term health consequences of youth smoking are reinforced by the fact that most young people who smoke regularly continue to smoke throughout their adult years. Tobacco can affect youth activities and athletic performance as it narrows blood vessels and puts a strain on the heart.
In addition to traditional cigarette smoking, there have been some rising new trends among our youth.
We have observed a lot of parties, what they call the hookah parties. So the hookahs now comes in different flavors. So there's this myth about there that the hookah pipe is much safer than the smoking cigarette because the water inside of it actually filters out the smoke. But the research it actually does show that the hookahs still can cause cancer, TB, or even an STI because most persons, when they share the tip of they don't change it. So if a person has one STI, actually can pass to the other person.
Then there are e-cigarettes.
The e-cigarettes don't have tobacco per se, but they have nicotine, they have other chemicals in it, and many of them come flavored. They are glamorized, right, because many of them are marketed by celebrities, and they are touted as being relatively safe. But not because they don't have tobacco and many of the other chemicals that are seen in cigarettes, they are not necessarily safe. They do have other chemicals. And one chemical that is seen in some of the flavorings that are used in e-cigarettes is called diacetyl. Diacetyl is a chemical that was used to make the buttery flavor that was used to give microwave popcorn that taste. It was then banned because the factory workers in the factories making the microwave popcorn got ill.
Another popular smoking option among teenagers is marijuana. But does marijuana or ganja smoking pose any risk to the teenage smoker?
The research does show that there's a big difference between a teenager smoking and an adult smoking. And the simple fact is this, is that your brain is not fully developed until age 22, 23. So there's a part of the brain which controls the executive function of the body, weighing consequence, all of these different things. So when you start using drugs at an early age, it actually impacts that part of the brain. So that's why you do have some of the students, so if you realize they're not doing well in class, right? It's like they get very upset or angry easily. All the research shows that once you start smoking from an early age, the long-term consequences are more severe. For example, in the 30s, if you start smoking as a teenager, later on in life, when it comes, it lowers your IQ level.
The Jamaica Cancer Society cites peer pressure, stressful relationships, and unresolved challenges at home as the three main reasons for teenage smoking.
Unfortunately, many young persons are under the mistaken impression that cigarettes eliminate stress. This is certainly not so. We therefore encourage students to seek help from their parents and teachers to resolve any issues that they may be facing. Do not turn to smoking for answers.
To help teenagers quit smoking, there is the Fresh Start Smoking Cessation Program, offered by the Jamaica Cancer Society in association with the American Cancer Society.
This is a comprehensive 4-session group-based course that covers issues such as nicotine addiction, managing withdrawal symptoms, weight control, stress management, recognizing and planning for possible obstacles to quitting, staying tobacco-free, and enjoying being a non-smoker.
There's also an annual anti-tobacco youth forum held in February to educate high school students about the dangers of smoking.
Many young people feel that lung cancer in particular is a disease of the elderly, and that they have years ahead of them before the dangers of smoking will affect them. So it is our responsibility to educate and to be able to tell our younger folk, don't start if you haven't started, and to stop if you actually have, because the dangers of cigarette smoking actually start from day one, from that first cigarette.
For more information on programs to help teens quit smoking, contact the Jamaica Cancer Society at 927-4265 or visit their website at jamaicacancersociety.org. You may also call the National Council on Drug Abuse at 926-9002-4 or visit their website at ncda.org.jm.
This is where the pages close for today. For more information on the features carried in today's magazine, log on to our website, jis.gov.jm. You may also visit our social media pages. There you'll find loads of information on all matters of government and public affairs. I'm Adrian Atkinson. Have yourselves a wonderful weekend.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.